It's Monster Week, where all your favorite DungeonTubers and me get together to post videos about, you guessed it, monsters. And this year's theme is Fey, the whimsical and dangerous denizens of dreams and whimsy. But while hags, fairies, and satyrs are all pretty popular, I want to shine a light on the little guys and the big ones. Fey from D&D, who I think don't get enough recognition. So here are 6 Fey you may not know about and why you should keep them in mind for the future. Let's start with a big one. The game is called Dungeons & Dragons, after all, and the Feywild gets their own unique flavor of winged beast. It's called the Jabberwock. Yes, I understand it's technically not a Fey according to its creature type, but I don't care. It lives in the Feywild, it's included in Wild Beyond the Witchlight, the Feywild adventure, and most importantly, it's weird as hell. So expect more on this list that are definitely Fey, even if the stat block says otherwise. This thing looks like a mix between a bug and a dragon, but unlike its chromatic cousins, it doesn't have a breast weapon, but instead shoots lasers from its eyes. Not just that, but anyone starting their turn within 30 feet of it can hear the Jabberwock's insane ramblings, which forces them to make a DC 18 charisma save, a dumb stat for most, or roll a d4 to see what they do that turn. Either nothing, running in a random direction, or taking a swing at whoever's nearby, friend or foe. It might look weird, but this dragon's dangerous. With their ability to regenerate HP and track any creature they've injured, Jabberwocks are perfect for hit-and-run tactics. As your party treks through a fairy forest or murky swamp, the Jabberwock follows, attacking swiftly before retreating just as fast, leaving the party to lick their wounds and wait for its return. But they also have an intelligence of 4, so it's not outlandish for them to be thralls of bigger baddies, an archfey's pet for example, lurking in their forbidden garden or endless hedge maze, waiting to eat anyone who crosses their master. That's terrifying, even if they kind of look like a rabbit. What if you took a sprite and a dwarf, mashed them together, and gave them time warping powers? That's Brigganocks, little fey miners who dwell deep underground. Besides having incredible mustaches, they can literally accelerate time around them in short bursts, letting them accomplish tasks in seconds that would normally take an hour. And what's that useful for? Well, their whole shtick is that they dig for wish stones, which don't contain the 9th level spell, but instead the ordinary wishes of everyday people, and can be used for magic stuff. And also their soul floats around outside their body and they can use it like a lantern, which is just cool. I feel like sprites and pixies tend to be the default little guys your players come across in the Feywild, but Brigganocks give you an entirely different, and I would argue, even cuter alternative. You could build entire quests around recovering, using, or stealing wish stones, or helping a community of tiny miners protect the ones they have. Or imagine what they could accomplish if a whole group put their time-bending powers together. Maybe your players need something fixed, carved, or broken down fast, and the Brigganocks will help them for a price. They may be little, but they're not dumb. Speeding in at number 3 are one of my favorites, Quicklings. They are the fastest of the Fey, clocking in with a movement speed of 120 feet, and they're always on the move. Zooming around at a breakneck pace, Quicklings love causing mayhem wherever they go, using that trademark speed to steal, prank, and generally get up to mischief. While they only have 10 HP, they can still create problems for your party. For a CR1 creature, they hit hard, with 3 attacks every round. Each has a +8 to hit and deals an average of 8 damage, enough to knock out a low-level player in 1 round. And because they move so fast, attacks against them have disadvantage, and they get evasion to dodge damage from dex saves. Not exactly an easy fight. But Quicklings can be just as effective out of combat as in, especially when you want to mess with your players a bit. They get +8 to their stealth and sleight of hand, making them the perfect little thieves to steal from your party as they travel through the Feywild. Whether working for themselves or a more powerful ally, imagine your players having to ransom their items back for a high price, or agree to a shady deal with the hag, so they can get all the stuff these little tricksters stole. You know what they say? It's not the Quickling you see that gets you, it's the one who's moving so goddamn fast they get your wallet before you notice. Now I'm changing all my credit cards. Let's go on. I take a lot of pride in my hair, but these next Fey have even me beat. Korreds are squat, goat-legged creatures who look like they're made of rock, and their connection to the earth is unreal. They can sense things in the stone beneath their feet, feel at home in caves and tunnels, and are even stronger when in contact with the dirt. If they have solid ground beneath their feet, their attacks deal an extra 2d8 damage. But they're also expert barbers, and their hair has a very practical purpose too, because it takes the form of whatever material was used to cut it. Meaning they can create steel ropes or gold bars using just their hair. It's like an alchemist's hairy, smelly dream. So how can you incorporate these guys into your games? As enemies, the books literally say that one thing that sets them off is the sound of mining. And hey, didn't I mention a creature that loves tunneling through mines for wish stones? I'm seeing a connection. Korreds feel like a natural enemy if you decide to have your party parlay with Brigganocks. But as allies, imagine what your players would do for strands of steel or silver. Maybe they need a length of Korred hair for a magical ritual, or want gold locks to pay off an angry archfey. If the local Korreds are having trouble with intruders in their caves, that's an easy quest you could toss into a campaign. If the players need to traverse deep underground, who better to guide them than a hairy goat man? If it worked for Hercules, it'll work for them. What's small, purple, and covered in oil? Hopefully nothing came to mind, unless you're thinking of Boggles. These little gremlins love to scare and mess with common folk, and have the ability to create small rifts between openings like windows and doorways to make sneaking around even easier. But they're also some of the grossest Fey out there, because they can literally ooze slime out of their pores. So that's fun, but it's also practical. As an action, they can create a puddle that either restrains creatures or causes them to slip if they pass through it. And for a bonus action, they can cover themselves in oil, making them difficult to grapple or able to latch onto walls and ceilings. Imagine a group of these things climbing all over a room, cackling to each other and leaving trails of slime everywhere. That's awful. In your games, Boggles won't be big bad guys fighting the party head to head, forcing them to save the world, but they cause the sort of small, somewhat harmless mischief that makes for a memorable side quest. Maybe one has taken up residence in a fancy tavern, and your party needs to track it down before it can prank more patrons. Or a group of them have set up a slimy nest in the sewers below town, wreaking havoc in the night as people sleep. Their antics are generally low stakes, but that doesn't mean your players won't have to get creative to catch creatures that can slip out of their grasp or literally make portals through time and space. And maybe, just maybe, you put one in your game as a small little encounter, and the party ends up adopting them. And now you have to do a stupid Boggle voice for 6 years. Imagine that. Last but not least, if you're a Mario fan, did you know Toad is actually in D&D? They're called Campestri, but they're basically the same. Little mushroom people who speak in nasally voices. They love music and can mimic any voice they hear, though it'll sound like whoever's speaking has a really bad cold. And while they aren't exactly dangerous, they do have ways to defend themselves. If one feels threatened, they can shoot out spores that incapacitate creatures if they fail a DC 10 wisdom save. And, well, no, that's about it. They aren't really fighters, but that doesn't mean you can't find fun uses for them in your games. Because they can mimic and memorize voices, and they look like harmless mushrooms, who knows what information these little fungi may have overheard. Maybe your party can convince them to divulge some of those secrets, with music, favors, or whatever else their weird little hearts desire. On the flip side, a hag or archfey could keep some around as a form of magical CCTV. They listen to anyone coming and going, and then repeat back what's said in exchange for a good place to grow. And this is a little darker, but Wild Beyond the Witchlight does mention that some creatures find them to be a delicacy. So maybe a satyr chef needs some for a big feast, and now your players have to grapple with sparing or harvesting living, talking mushrooms. Their nasally screams will haunt the party streams. So that's pretty fun. Those are 6 Fey that I think deserve more love, and are worth using next time your players find themselves in the Feywild. Thanks for watching, and there's so much more to check out for Monster Week. I'll link today's playlist to other incredible Fey-themed videos somewhere over here, and it'll be in the description below. Plus, there'll be a new playlist every day with even more to see. And hey, if you like this one, consider subscribing to the Bard's College. I make videos all about D&D, DMing, and everything in between, so stick around. But for now, good luck, and remember, crit your players.